Hey guys, welcome to the FitTown Show. I'm Coach Andrew, and I'm joined today by Coach Jack. And we're going to be learning more about Jack today. This is Meet the Coaches with Coach Jack. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jack. You're pretty new to the team. Give us like the basic rundown. Like, how old are you?
I'm 24. I live in Palm Beach Gardens, so I don't actually live here in Jupiter. With my girlfriend. And
how dare you?
Blasphemy. What is wrong with you?
I don't even know what's north of Jupiter or south of Jupiter. I go to west in Jupiter. That's it.
That's it. So I live down in Palm Beach Gardens with my girlfriend and Parker, my dog. He's a golden retriever. He's 2 years old. My girlfriend, she's around 20. Her name's Caitlin. We've been here since basically the quarantine shut down. Literally worked one day and then we shut down for 3 months, or felt like 3 months. But yeah, as far as my family, I have one sister. She's 27. Yeah, she's 27. So she's 27. Have two parents. My dad. Everybody has two parents, right? Mom and dad, they're 52 and 53. They actually came down and visited not too long ago.
Nice.
Trying to convince my mom to just go ahead and move down this way.
Where do they live?
They live in Cartersville, Georgia. So it's like about an hour-ish, a little bit longer, northeast or northwest of Atlanta.
And that's where you're from. Have you spent your whole life there?
Basically, like, most of my life. So we lived in an area called Conyers for like the first 2 years of my life. Then mom and dad met. So when I'm referring to my dad, it's like my stepdad, but
Gotcha.
He's been my dad my whole life. So we moved out of there when I was about 2 years old. They had like a fake New Year's party, and like it was actually their wedding, so they only invited certain people. And they're like, "Hey, you guys, this is actually a wedding," so they doubled it up. So yeah, their anniversary is the first of every year.
Nice.
They've been together since that's 22 years they've been together, which is pretty awesome.
Cool. So is this your first time living outside of Georgia?
Outside of Georgia, yes. Yeah. I was living on my own for about 2 or 3 years before I moved down this way. But yeah, outside of Georgia, even when I went to school for a little bit, I was still in Georgia, just South Georgia.
Mm-hmm. What do you think so far? What do you think of Gardens and Jupiter?
10 times better than Georgia. Yeah, I mean, I was actually one of those people who didn't think the beach was like better than the mountains, but now that I live down here, like, it's crazy how much the sunlight and the outdoors environment actually, like, you're just a happier person. I feel like it's just where we're meant to be, in the sunlight, getting that vitamin D, being able to go out and do stuff at all times rather than being like stuck inside all winter long. But it's been phenomenal. People are phenomenal. Like, I mean, you guys have made it as welcoming as you guys could, considering like you can't get into these big groups or anything like that, social distancing and all that. But it's been phenomenal being down here. Met some friggin' awesome people, and everyone's got like this just. Even the people who are like tight, you know, like they're still even laid back, you know. It's been an interesting experience. The only thing that I don't like is the driving. Driving's not good down here.
In terms of bad drivers on the road? Yeah.
Sitting at a stoplight for more than 1.5 seconds when it turns green, just everybody's honking their horn. So.
Yeah, that's why I don't drive anywhere. Like I said, I don't leave Jupiter to Questa.
If I can't walk there, I'm not driving there.
You know, things were great before you got down here, so I'm blaming you for all that's happened over the last 6 months.
I brought it with me.
It's the only thing I can explain it by. So, tell us a little bit about your athletic background, fitness background. Did you play sports growing up?
Yeah, so my main sport was soccer. In middle school, I did a little bit of wrestling, and I wanted to continue that in high school. But then I found out it wasn't going to be my cup of tea, some of the stuff that goes along with the wrestling. So decided not to do that. Also kicked for football in middle school, and then when I got to high school, I just decided the flow of it, once again, it's just something that didn't fit my personality or something that I would want to do. But I did that, did cross country, so I was always more of like a more long distance cardio based athlete growing up. And so I mean, I played soccer since I can ever remember. Like, I don't remember.
What position are you?
Just depends. So whenever I first started and I was trying to play up and get like that next level, I wasn't as good as everybody else, so they were like, your goalie. So that was great. But then as I got better and my skills developed, I started playing more mid just because I felt like I needed to always be in the play and, wings constantly running up and down the field. So I stayed at wing from probably like 13, 14 up until like my senior year of high school. And then my coach was like, why don't you go up to forward so that way you can score more? And I was like, less running. I like it.
Yeah.
I think, and that was after I started doing CrossFit. So I started doing CrossFit when I was about 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I just liked the mixed bag of being able to do everything from running to jumping, being on the pull-up bar, doing all the gymnastic stuff was always something that like, especially because like some of the people that I saw were so gymnastically inclined, they make it look so beautiful and elegant. You're like, I want to be just like them. So,
that's cool. I feel like so many of the people that I know from my generation above were like found CrossFit after they were done playing sports. They played some sports growing up, but they didn't find CrossFit till 5, 10, 20 years later sometimes. And the thing I hear all the time is like, man, I just wish I had this when I was growing up and playing soccer, playing baseball. Did you feel like it made a difference for you at that time?
Yeah, I think it did. I think it did me a lot of good. And then I think I was just doing a lot all at the same time. So what ended up happening is like I stopped doing CrossFit during my senior year of soccer just because I think we were doing a like outlaw program, so strength-wise it was squatting all the time.
Every day is 1 rep max snatch, 1 rep max clean and jerk.
Basically, it was pretty bad as far as like the wear and tear because between doing that and then running miles and running, the bleachers for soccer, I think it took a lot on my knee. Maybe pulled out a knee injury that I didn't know that I had. Started agitating it, and I was like, it's my senior year of soccer. I could always CrossFit later on in my life. Like I can always get back into it. I was like, but I can't do soccer as a sport really.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to, outside of like that school atmosphere. So I was like, and plus it's kind of like, it's your senior year, it's your last shot to get like a scholarship, get offers to go places. So I was like, I need to kind of double down on this. So I decided to take off of soccer. Definitely noticed my conditioning went way down my senior year. And I don't know if that's because I started playing more forward or if it's just because I stopped working out as much, but played a huge factor into it for me.
And then when did that evolve from more sports and athletics to fitness side? When did you, get into coaching and when was that seed planted?
I think that's when I kind of moved back home from college. So when I moved back home from college, I got an office job. So I was like, I got to do something. I got to be active because I hated it. So I was like sitting down at a desk for, hours on end, and I'm just like, that's not my personality. My personality now. Like,
your knees shaking.
Yeah. I'm like, I got to stay moving. So I started working out at Planet Fitness of all places. And then I heard that there was going to be a fitness training spot opening up. So it was better pay. It was, it was better hours for what I wanted to do. Plus, like, just working out in the gym, I started realizing how some people needed a lot more help. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to go after. That position actually got taken for a small amount of time, but the managers worked with me and were like, hey, if you go and get it, we'll open up some, like, you can still do the front desk stuff here, but you'll also be able, like, this is after I got the job. I forgot to mention that part. That's a huge part of it. But anyways, so yeah, I got hired on there, and then I was like, and then I started trying to go after the fitness training job shortly after. Like, if you go get your A certification, you can come in and then we'll get you some part-time hours. So that happened, and then the other trainer left, and then I took over as a full-time trainer. Right around that same time, the guy who ran the gym that I originally started doing CrossFit at needed a coach, and then he offered me the position. Or he sat down and talked with me, and he offered me the position, looking for somebody who was able to be in the gym a lot more often and with the flexibility of Planet Fitness. I was this guy. And then, worked with them for quite a while. And then that's when, like, right around that time when I got the fitness training job, I think that's when it really became more about learning how to be healthier and be more fit and care about my body, rather than just like, hey, I wanted to put on muscle and I just wanted to look good. I think a lot of it was vanity whenever I was younger, and then as I got there with the knee injury and stuff like that, I realized, Like, I can't just run my body into the ground constantly. I have to take care of it. So I realized that I needed to take some steps to make myself healthier, not just, what you're eating, but how you actually treat your body and listen to your body's signs that it's giving you. So yeah, and then that's when I started coaching CrossFit shortly after that.
So when did you, it sounds like you kind of fell into coaching a little bit. It was seemingly more of like avoiding the office environment more so than knowing, oh yeah, I definitely 100% want to be a coach and a fitness trainer. At what point in that did you realize I actually want to be a professional coach, professional trainer? This is what I want to build my career around. Do you remember that moment?
Probably right when I took my L1. I think that was like when I was actually taking my L1 is when I realized that this was like something that I wanted to do. Just listening to the people at the L1 and how they talked about health and fitness. One dude, he worked out with the CrossFit Mayhem crew, and he had done it, and the way that he talked about volume and stuff like that, and just how, CrossFit, that I think right around that time is when Greg Glassman had wanted to start putting more of like that health initiative forward and actually pushing to make trainers more of like, how he has the lifeguard, swim coach. He started trying to make that a little bit more of what it's all about, and I think that's when I started hearing some of the stuff that they were pushing in the L1 is when I realized like, hey, we can do a lot more good as trainers in promoting health. And I think, I always wanted to be in some kind of service, like career-wise, I always wanted to be in some kind of serving atmosphere, and I wanted it to be around helping people feel better. Didn't actually 110% find that, I think, until like I was like at the L1 and I was like, oh, you don't have to have a doctor, like you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a physical therapist in order to provide benefit to people. They don't have to be sick yet. Like they don't have to be deathly sick for you to help them, right. Or, incredibly injured. Like it could be something that you are preventing them from ever having to go through that, to ever come down with, or, to be type 2 diabetic, or to have, some kind of catastrophic knee injury. Like you can do the things to prevent those things from happening. So.
Yeah, it sounds like that coincided with you shifting from realizing working out is about vanity to working out could be a lot more, and then you realize that the coach has all these tools to be able to make that happen. You don't necessarily have to be a doctor or a physical therapist to actually make that happen. Yeah, no, it definitely happened right around the same time. It was kind of like, it was a very pivotal point, I feel like, in my life and how I saw, not like, I just saw the world differently, and I saw my life differently than before. Like, I feel like you kind of reach this maturity point where, like, you're like, oh, I'm not going to be, young forever. Like, and I know that sounds dumb because I'm still extremely young. Like, in comparison to so many people, like, I think I'm the youngest person on staff. Maybe not now, maybe not on full staff, but coaching staff wise, I'm the youngest for sure. And I just know that, like, I'm like, oh, if I want to live, it's not just living long, it's about living long healthy. And I'm like, I realize, like, oh, you don't want to be the person who has to be in a wheelchair when they're like 60 or 70 and pushed around. You might be living, but you're not really living. You want to be able to actively enjoy life at that point. Yeah. So fast forward a little bit to where you are today. What do you enjoy most about coaching? Relationships. Like that's the number one thing. I mean, I enjoy helping people and getting them to realize their full potential, but I enjoy getting to know people on a personal level and understand what their goals are and why, like what makes that goal their goal and like why that's important to them. Like I think just relationships in general are such a huge part of what we do, but I think like getting to know somebody just to get to know them is great for like knowing what they want to do, but actually having fuel for you to like that, that empathetic, like, oh, this means so much to them, so that makes you want to do everything in your power to make that possible for them. Nice. What's your niche as a coach? Do you have a specific part of coaching that you really love to coach, or an area that you really get excited about? I always like lifting. Heavy lifting is like where I get the most excited. It's where I can also probably grow the most as a coach, and I think that comes with like
if you're really passionate about something, you start to realize how much like you don't know. It's like, I know this much and I'm passionate about this much, so if I know this much, like I could be so much better. So Olympic lifting's always fun. I love gymnastics as well, the high level gymnastics, whether it's muscle ups or handstand walks, handstand push-ups, that kind of stuff as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite exercise to do yourself?
That's a hard one. Depends on the day. Depends on how sore I am.
Give us the top 3.
Top 3. Deadlift's got to be in the top 3. I'd say deadlift is probably my favorite. And then coming second is handstand push-ups. And I think that's kind of funny because one of my least favorite workouts when I started was Diane. Like, absolutely would destroy me every time I did it.
Diane is deadlift and handstand push-ups,
that's all.
if you're wondering.
Yeah, 21, 15, 9 deadlifts and handstand push-ups used to destroy me every time. I'd be like wallowing on the floor in pain, like all over. And then 3 would probably have to be anything shoulder to overhead. Like push jerks are probably my number 3 right there.
Nice. Do you have a favorite benchmark workout or maybe most memorable workout? Maybe in a bad way?
I think my favorite is actually Nate. Nate is a good one. I actually enjoy my time as I do that. One, because it's some gymnastic stuff, and then you've got the handstand push-ups.
Nate is 20-minute AMRAP of, 2 muscle-ups, 4 handstand push-ups, and 8 kettlebell swings?
Yep. Yeah, so just enough to where it doesn't, not too much of anything where, you just get blown out on that one set. It's just about being able to keep that same pace. Kind of like it's Cindy almost in the way you attack it. That's probably my favorite. Most memorable is always going to be Murph, especially this last one, the one that we did outside. I was like, South Florida heat's not for me during this kind of workout. That's the worst I've ever felt during a Murph.
Yeah, first time doing the best, middle of July in South Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a huge difference from doing it Memorial Day weekend in Northwest Georgia to doing it in Southern Florida. So much hotter, so much sweatier. I never get that feeling like I want to throw up. And I remember looking over at you and going, I think I'm gonna throw up one movement at a time. And in my head, I was like, that's already how I'm attacking this. I don't know what you want me to do. Just one little, I'm doing one push-up at a time, basically, at this point.
Yeah, good memories. Do you have a favorite food or cheat meal?
Oh, ice cream's definitely the favorite cheat meal.
What's your favorite type of ice cream?
Cookie dough, but recently I've been a lot more of a fan of waffle cones in it. I know that sounds weird, but
are you buying waffle cones to mash in your ice cream, or are you looking for flavors that have waffle cones in them?
There's flavors that have it. So Ben & Jerry's has, it's called Americone Dream. It's Stephen Colbert's signature flavor, but the best ice cream that's out there that you can get at the store is Tillamook. So creamy, so delicious, and they have a waffle cone flavor that it's just chocolate dipped waffle cones, and then it's throughout the ice cream.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, Mike, I gotta go get some right after this.
Do you have a favorite book?
Favorite book of all time is probably The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I remember it was I think that was I used to really like reading, and then at some point in my high school career, I was like, I don't like reading anymore. And then when I got out of high school, I actually read that book, and that kind of sparked my interest again in reading, just because it's an amazing tale. It's been so long since I've read it, so I don't want to try to butcher any of the story, but I remember reading it and being inspired by this idea of creating your future and literally just writing it. It's all about how you move forward with your mindset and everything like that. So
yeah, that's an awesome book.
Mm-hmm.
I know you listen to a lot of podcasts. Do you have a favorite podcast?
I feel like saying Joe Rogan's one of the easiest tap outs of all time, because it's it's the most listened to podcast. I'm a huge fan of 7 Figure Box.
Paid him to say that.
Yeah.
Actually, the FitTown Show is my favorite.
Just putting that in there. I have been listening to more of the Aubrey Marcus podcast.
That one's good too.
I like he's an interesting individual. Some things are just, kind of out there with me. Same thing with like Tim Ferriss. I think they're both really cool individuals who have interesting views and interesting experiences to share. But right now I've just been listening to more of him.
Nice. Do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie of all time is that's hard. So Interstellar's up there. And to go back to books, actually, now that I think about it, Harry Potter series is a huge staple of my childhood. And I think that actually, I think that actually
tops The Alchemist.
Yeah, as far as like obviously it's a series, so I feel like that's kind of cheating anyways. But as a single book, The Alchemist, as a series, Harry Potter, same thing. It's like Interstellar would be probably my favorite standalone film. And then as a series, like if you put the whole series together, the Harry Potter series, once again, it's just like, it's one of those stories that I like grew up with. So it's like encased as like a part of like the way that I think about the world, I feel like.
Nice. Do you have a favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show is The Office. I mean, like, that's also a cheap way out, but it's just hilarious. And it's one of those things.
Favorite Office character?
Jim. It's gotta be Jim. I feel like I love Steve Carell, but he plays just such a terrible person. Like, if you say that, it's not a good look for you. I think Jim, I like Jim as far as his overall character. Dwight's pretty funny too, but I like him more for the fact that I know that he's not real. Like, I just like I just watched the episode last night where Pam's like crying in the hallway and he goes to take off his jacket and you're like, oh, he's gonna wrap it around Pam. He just ties it around his waist and like he's a small child on the playground. And I was just like, I was like, he's so hilarious just like situationally, but Jim overall has to take the cake.
Nice. Any other things that we should know about you? Interests, hobbies, things you like to do outside the gym?
Dang, I'm such a boring person. I mean, like, I feel like most of my life around here is, like, the beach. I love my dog. I like being active outside of here. I like learning, like, about everything. So, like, I like bringing in different experiences. So, I try to be as, like, I try not to get so solely focused in on one thing. And I think that's why I like Joe Rogan so much. Because it's like, you can listen to his podcast every day. And as long as you're listening to somebody, like, you're listening to a new episode, you're hearing some kind of different perspective, some kind of different idea. Or you might just be listening to nonsense. Like, I watched the Post Malone podcast, and I was like, this is complete and utter nonsense that they're just talking about. But outside of work, I'm, like, especially at this time, I just feel like I'm not doing too much except for, like, the learning and reading, watching different stuff. But yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for taking the time, Jack. Love having you on the team.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on the team. Shout out to all the FitTowners. Love you guys. But
all right, we'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for joining.